So yeah, it's just me, everyone. Yeah, you all left me. Put me through hell and just left me. That's how you fucking treat me. Jesus fucking Christ. Things I fucking do. It's so sad. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 24 of The Unusual Suspects. How was your lockdown? Mine was great. It's nearly at the end, we think, unless something has happened in between now and 3 weeks later. I don't know.
That could be awkward, couldn't it?
It could be.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Could be a zombie apocalypse by then.
Here's hoping.
America could have burnt down.
Oh fuck, the elections happened.
Yeah.
In case you haven't guessed.
Congratulations to...
Don't finish that sentence.
A squirrel.
Just edit the names in here, please.
No.
Ronan Keating, congratulations on your election.
I'd take Ronan Keating as their president. That's got to be the best of the bad options.
Do you think if he was president, he would just allow everyone like free entry to roller coasters? Because life is a roller coaster.
Maybe.
This is the weirdest intro I've ever done in 24 episodes. My name's Dan, you know that. I'm joined by Andy.
Hello.
And Penny.
Hi.
And we had a bit of a scare before this one because we thought 22 was completely fucking lost because Max, everyone. So we're getting ready to re-record 22 and thank fuck it's fixed. So yay, hooray for...
You leave my Mac alone.
Hooray from Max.
It is a piece of shit though, isn't it?
Only because I need to buy a new one. She's old.
Bless her.
It happens when you get old. Bitsy stop working. She's only working at 75%. What are you working at?
Yeah, fucking far less than that, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. Be mean.
Anyway, how was everyone's lockdown?
I'm predicting it was boring.
Predict your lockdown now and see what you think. And then in the future, we can go back to this.
I don't really go out much anyway. I now don't have a job or places to go to, so I'm imagining mine is the same.
It's a bit of a shame we cancelled the podcast, though.
It's just difficult to work with Penny. That was the problem, isn't it? We had to get rid of her.
Yeah, I know.
We've replaced her.
It's a shame she's not going to be
I'm
here
so
next
glad
week.
we took the other Bennett and Jenny is holding her own.
Coming up next, Jenny. Yeah, I'm predicting that we're all just going to be a bit more miserable, especially when it's... Actually, to be honest, I think it's fucking great. It's fucking cold outside. It's getting fucking freezing. I put on a jacket the other day inside. I've turned the heating on. I love it, but at the same time, there's no point going outside now. It's cold.
No, this is much better. Like, when I wasn't going anywhere and it was sunny, it was bullshit. But now I'm in hibernating mode.
Exactly.
And
yeah, when March came around, or April, it was fucking boiling. It was absolutely roasting. So we were stuck inside and just...
Do you remember when we recorded that episode and we were sweating?
Yeah, I had to take my shirt off, didn't I? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, shit.
And now I'm sitting here under a blanket with some slippers on like an old lady.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, that wasn't fun. We had to fucking compress or EQ or noise
all
remove
the
fucking all the fans in the background. It was so fucking loud. It was just like we're in a warehouse or something. But yeah, fun times.
Stay home, stay snug. If you go out, wear a mask.
It wasn't the first time I had recorded in a Hawaiian shirt and pants though, so some things don't change.
That's true.
Hey, you can see that for yourselves at After Dark. That's coming out tomorrow. Maybe Andy will wear it. He's not going to wear it unless he puts it on.
Because it's fucking
cold now.
December and or November.
All right, well,
November.
maybe in the next summer you'll see him in a Hawaiian shirt and After Dark. But hey, watch After Dark only on our YouTube channel. That's got 1 million subscribers now.
Jesus Christ.
Liar.
I love that we record in the future. We can just guess shit, but in the past, sorry, I guess.
Wait, but even
shit.
in this episode, you said it comes out tomorrow, so it's not even out in the future yet.
No, but I'm just saying.
Or in the past, and it's got 1 million subscribers.
Our first, was it 3 episodes, I guess? They were so good that we've reached 1 million already.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to everyone.
Third one was alright.
Third one, yeah, after fucking talking about ducks in hotels.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it, we're not going to spoil it, but there was a conversation about ducks in hotels that got me really fucking angry, and everyone else really angry at me for not understanding.
Because you're a fucking idiot about it.
Go watch it. Go watch it.
Yeah.
Ducks don't get inheritance.
Don't.
Let's move on.
Huh.
Penny, what have you been watching?
Today I watched a film called Oh My God, ... We're in a horror movie.
Oh my god, ... I'm so surprised.
Do you know what I watched on Halloween while everyone else was watching spooky movies?
What?
I watched the end of the Cobra Kai series. I didn't watch anything scary on Halloween at all because the rest of my life is scary movies, so figured it was...
The new Cobra Kai?
Yeah.
The new season? Or
The season,
okay.
yeah. Series, yeah, we finished series 2. So I picked a name off of my list of shit movies. It's about 6 friends who have a weekly board game night.
Ooh.
And one night they're playing and they are interrupted by a booming movie trailer voice from the sky. And apparently it turns out they're trapped in a horror movie, which I thought sounded quite good. The movie had other ideas.
Okay.
I like that my first note literally is a quote that just says, "Fuck me running with a goddamn dildo."
Okay.
Context?
Yes, please.
They're playing ball games and they're losing, and that's what one of the girls says.
Like as an exclamation, or is it a request?
Yeah, she's like, "Fuck me running with a goddamn dildo." And I was like, oh, that's specific.
That's a reach. Yeah, that's a bit of a reach to fucking...
Don't most people run with water bottles?
Or scissors.
Or scissors?
No, you shouldn't run.
Like, you don't see that at London Marathon, do you? Like, they're running through a checkpoint and someone's handing out dildos.
Well, that's not the last time we see a dildo in this film, so...
Good.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I can't wait for that triathlon scene.
So basically, the 6 people that are hanging out is Tom and his friend Tanya and Jesse. Then there's their creepy friend Kyle, Chris and AJ. And they're sitting around playing board games, and for quite a long time it's just weird talking points. They talk about Jamaica. Chris and AJ are talking about black points because apparently AJ's not always black enough, so sometimes he wins black points and sometimes he doesn't. There's talks about dead babies.
When did this film come out?
Standard.
2014.
2014. Yeah, makes sense.
Can't even blame it on the 90s.
No.
What's a bit weird is that, I mean, we're in lockdown right now, but before lockdown, the day before, me and Andy, which is tomorrow, we're having a board game night. So who knows what we discuss. Maybe we'll record it and come back to you on the next episode.
I might bring up some of these topics and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe.
So, dead babies, Dan, thoughts? That's insensitive. I apologise to dead babies.
The dead babies part is from their Kyle, who is extra creepy. So they're all sitting around and they can hear a window smash in the other room, and they go and check it out. And there's this clearly obsessed girl, this blonde girl, and she is obsessed with Tom. Turns out she's his ex-girlfriend. I think they broke up a couple of weeks before. And she turns up with a Star Trek board game and a bottle of absinthe.
Oh, it is like board games with
Fuck,
Dan.
that's a fucking walnut. Yeah, it is like, it is. What the fuck? Is this about me? Jesus.
She's fucking nuts. She's got crazy eyes. Like, she is all over Tom and he doesn't know how to get rid of her, which leads to one of my other quotes. She looks around and sees everyone in the room and points and goes, "What's that?" And she's very, very angry. And someone else just goes, "A lesbian." And she's like, "Oh, okay."
Oh, I don't know why that made me laugh.
And then she's trying to get back with Tom and it's awkward and she's freaking out and whatever. And then they're like, "Can we please just, if you're going to say, can we just play?" And the creepy guy is like, "There's 7 of us in the room now." Dan, question?
So the booming trailer voice, guys.
Hasn't happened.
Oh, it hasn't happened yet.
Hasn't happened
Okay.
yet. Sorry, that was the synopsis.
Okay.
So the creepy guy Kyle is like, "There's 7 people in the room." It's a very powerful number. And then he rolls 3 6s.
Oh.
And then the voiceover comes on and is like, I can't remember what it said, but it's basically a horror movie voiceover that's like, "Now they have found themselves in a scary movie." And it's really, really loud. And they do this really terrible acting where they put their hands like over their ears and they're like shaking around going, because it's really loud. And the camera is also shaking and it's awful.
This is the start of the film.
This is the start of the film.
I missed the synopsis.
Okay, right. We're in for a long one, ladies and gents.
Is this, I'm going to say it because I say this every time you talk about any fucking film, particularly horror films. Is this a spoof or is it legit?
What do you think?
I hope it's a spoof.
Well, it must be.
I think, yeah. And it gets very meta. So they end up talking. First of all, Kyle is like, "Oh, I saw a movie where if you roll 3 6s, you get trapped in a movie." And everyone's just like...
It's called Jumanji.
No, he says, sorry, Kyle says that he once saw a movie that if you kick a cat and you roll 3 6s, they got trapped in a movie. And they were like, did you kick a cat today? And he's like, yeah, only a kitten.
I mean, why?
Why is this dialogue? What the
Why did he kick a cat?
They don't go into that. And then just for you, Andy, they're all like, how could this possibly have happened? And Kyle's just like, you just have to suspend your disbelief. And they all go, oh, okay.
Right.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about it? I feel like it's pretty bullshit.
Yep. Okay.
It sounds like a shit horror Jumanji. I'm waiting for fucking Nigel Thornberry to turn up.
I wish it was a shit horror. Yeah, I wish it was... He's not in Jumanji, he's in the Wild Thornberries. You're mixing your children's films. So, apart from the booming voice...
Nigel to turn up now, sorry.
That'd be so good.
Apart from the booming voice, there is no proof that they're in a horror movie until Kyle manages to, like, disappear and reappear next to people. And then he does it again.
What?
And then he's just gone.
Oh, man.
So they all sit around and try and work out who is which stereotype in the movie. So you've got Chris and AJ, the 2 black guys, and they're like, fuck, we need to get away from these people because we're going to die first. Like, we need to leave. Tanya, also black, she's like, well, I'm not the stereotype black because that's those guys, so I must be like the best friend. And then Tom is like, well, I must be like the male lead. And Amy's like, oh, I must be like the sexy female lead as well because she's in love with Tom. And then Jesse is just like, what am I then?
Stoner.
And everyone's just like, Asian.
Fucking idiot.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So there's no stoner kid?
No. Well, Chris is technically a stoner kid, but that hasn't been established yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jesse's a bit like, well, what happens to Asian girls in horror movies? And no one seems to know. And there's a lot of talking about the stereotypes, but none of them really seem to be a stereotype. Yeah.
Is this Euro Trip, the horror film?
Oh, it sounds like Scary Movie, but shit.
Yeah, I think so. So Chris and AJ are like, there are too many black people in this room to survive, like for all of us to survive, so we're leaving.
Are they played by the Wayans by chance?
No, but I suppose you could put them in. Yeah, I don't know who any of these people are. I imagine they haven't done a lot.
Imagine we had that as the episode title.
What?
There's too many black people. Wow.
Oof.
So, yeah, Chris and AJ run outside because they're not staying. And then they just, like, they freak out. And then they just end up listing, they're like, there must have been a black guy that survived a horror movies. And they're like, no, Omar Epps died he got stabbed in a bathroom stall, which is from Scream 2. Samuel L. Jackson died in it. Like, they're listing all these black guys in horror films. And they're like, no, they died. Fuck, they died. We're going to die. And they're like, oh, LL Cool J, he didn't die. Maybe we can be LL Cool J.
It's true. He hid in an oven.
Yeah.
What film's this?
Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, of course.
Does he get eaten by a shark?
No, he hides in an oven.
No, Samuel.
And then he harpoons a shark to death with a explosive harpoon or something.
Samuel L. Jackson has one of the greatest death scenes in that fucking film. It's nice. It's so great.
Oh, it's so good.
And then Chris goes to light up a joint and AJ's like, you can't smoke because stoners always die horribly in horror movies. They list some more examples of stoners dying in horror movies. And then they go back, it cuts back to the apartment and Tanya's like, all right, I'm not staying here with all you white people. I'm going to get a gun. And she leaves. Mm-hmm. Chris and AJ decide that if they're in a movie, like if they're in a horror movie, if they act out a different scene from a different movie, then they won't be in the horror movie anymore.
So what, they do the ending scene from Dirty Dancing?
No, Chris says to AJ, go download the script from Friday and meet me in 20 minutes. So he's like, because then we can just sit around and smoke and I won't die.
What?
They feel like if they play out a scene from a movie, then the horror movie will never get them.
All right, is this like, oh my god, I'm an idiot, the movie?
It sounds like it.
It sounds like they've just rounded up like the worst kind of people.
I don't want to...
Oh my god, it's a listicle.
It's very listy. I don't want to say they rounded up the worst people because I don't know them, but this film was like an hour and 40 minutes long. It was way too long.
So, without spoiling the terrific film, does this take place in the same location throughout the whole an hour and 40 minutes?
No, it moves.
Oh, okay.
It moves, okay.
Does it move into the bin, hopefully?
I wish it went into the bin.
The garden.
So it goes to like a couple of different apartments. It must still be very cheap. So Tom convinces Amy to go home. He's like, oh, if you go home, like go and get ready, have a nice long shower, then I'll come over and we can have sexy terms, because he wants her to leave. She gets very excited by that and says, you are getting totally fucked tonight.
Oh,
She was very...
who talks like that? Has anyone listening known someone or even yourselves talk like this? This is not normal talk, even for a spoof. It just sounds like, I don't know. It's so... They're trying too hard is what it is. It sounds like you're just trying too hard.
Like, Kyle, the creepy guy, is very creepy in the beginning, and he talks about, like, he once watched a documentary where people smoke something out of the bones of children and it gives them power. Like, he's very, very creepy stereotype on purpose, and his acting is very terrible, but actually he gets slightly better throughout the rest of the movie when everyone else is...
Penno,
he improves.
Yes.
If someone told you about a documentary where people were smoking something through the bones of a child, would you watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's not that creepy, is it?
No, this is true.
Or we're creepy. It could be that.
That's very questionable, but
Yeah. So Amy leaves and it's just Tom and Jessie now, and Jessie is freaking out. Jessie's also vegan. They make reference to that as... I don't want to say vegans tend to do, but in this movie. And she is freaking out, so she's doing a chant and she's basically sitting there going, I am raw, I am organic, I came from the earth came from me. I am raw, I am organic, I am from the earth and the earth is from me. Not really sure how that's supposed to help against, like, a murderer.
Also not sure it's science.
No, true.
not sure it's funny if they're trying to be funny.
So then Tom is like, well, if I'm the male lead, if you were the female lead, if we were a couple... then
I'm
you
losing
wouldn't
my
die.
mind.
Yeah, then you would survive. So he suggests that they bang, but she's a lesbian, so she's like, no, fuck off.
I like meta films,
Yeah, it's not.
but
Yeah.
stop it. Like,
It's a little too on the nose so
Yeah.
far. Like,
Yeah.
it's not subtle
No,
enough.
there's no subtlety, and it's just,
you
it's
know
not
what?
good.
It's really reminding me of very first podcast 3D fan footage of like, oh no, they're not meant to do that because that's what horror films are like, and it instantly reminded me of
Found
that. Like,
footage did it better.
it sounds like it.
Take that as you will.
They're not sat around fucking playing a board game going, oh, 666. Woo.
I hope we get some good feedback for giving found footage some props this time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we cut back to
Moving
Amy,
on.
and Amy's at home getting ready for Tom, and she's wearing her sexy Star Trek dress. Like, so it's like, you know, like the red shirts in Star Trek, it's a sexy dress. And
Yeah.
she's doing some really cringy stuff in front of the mirror. She's all like, ooh.
Is she into Star Trek or is he? Is she just doing it for him?
Yeah.
His benefit?
I'm not sure, probably his benefit.
Okay, just so I know.
They've done it before,
Right.
Because she's like talking into the mirror and she's like, ooh, Captain Thomas Hottie Pants, Lieutenant Amy Sexy Bottom is ready to board.
Oh, God, that makes me
stab
so
my eyes
uncomfortable.
out.
It was so cringy.
Yeah.
The masked murderer comes in and she shouts at him in Klingon.
Of course she does.
Yeah.
Because she goes like, sorry, I don't know any Klingon. And he's like, what?
Great.
And she repeats it, and he's like, what? And she's like, it means bring on the pain or something in Klingon. And he's like, oh, okay. And then they have a fist fight.
Hang on, this masked murderer is having a conversation with her.
Well, she shouts at him in Klingon, and he's like, what did you say?
Yeah, but they never normally reply.
Yeah, well,
I've quite genuinely, I've never seen a film, like a horror film, where there's a murderer or like a supernatural killer, like
doesn't
Mike
Chucky
Myers
talk
or
to
whatever.
people, though?
Yeah, but they don't have a fucking conversation. Like, sorry, what? Excuse me, pal, what you saying?
No, they have a get out clause in this film. It's a comedy, apparently.
It might become clearer later, because now I'm reading through it and I know what I know about the end. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. But they have a fight, and she wins, and Amy locks him in a cupboard. And while she's like, yeah, you're not going to kill me, fuck yeah, she slips over on a whip that she had on the floor and she dies. I'm assuming she breaks her neck.
Right.
So she's dead.
But he's now locked in a cupboard, much like R. Kelly is.
He's locked in a cupboard.
So he's going nowhere.
In a cupboard, in a closet. Yeah, and later on, Tom's like, oh yeah, he's not getting out of there. She locked me in that cupboard once when I tried to break up with her, and I was there for 3 days. Anyway, so Tom and Jessie head to Amy's, and oh, I forgot about this bit. She she starts to ask him questions about Amy because she wants more character backstory, which is what she actually says. That's how meta it is.
Okay.
And she asks why they broke up. So Tom's answer, and I quote, is, "Some girls spit and some girls swallow. Amy saves."
Oh, Jesus, fuck. That's horrible.
Why?
Because she's a psycho. She's mental and she's obsessed with him.
What are you saving it for? A bank account or something? A sperm bank? What? I don't. Why is that a line in this film? What does she save it for?
I don't know, but if it helps later on, there's a bit where the murderer's in the cupboard. He's like, "What's in this jar? Semen!
Oh, she's popping down HSBC with a couple of vials to open a new account.
I don't know.
Penny, I get that this is a spoof and it's meta and stuff, but you got to have some logic.
No, there's no logic in this film.
No explanation for actions of the characters. Not, I just say sperm in my mouth because.
And put it in a jar. Maybe she makes like a shrine, like in Hey Arnold. Maybe she's like Helga Pataki.
Is she the one that was talking about dead babies?
No, that was the weird guy.
No, that was Creepy Kyle.
Well, there's your cross reference. Fuck, that's terrible.
That might be the worst thing that's ever been said on this podcast. I'm glad it didn't come from me.
I mean, this sounds like I don't care. When Penny brings these up,
don't make it my fault.
Up so many times in the past. Like on the last couple of episodes, I think I said it 2 times. It's like, so here's a standard situation. And she saves sperm in her mouth. Anyway, I'm just like...
She doesn't save it. She's not walking around with a mouthful of sperm the whole time.
Oh, sorry.
She's presumably puts them into jars.
She apparently spits it in a jar.
Oh, okay. That makes it all right then.
So, while Tom and Jesse are there, it turns out Amy has turned into a zombie.
What?
Didn't know this was a zombie movie.
Why? How? Why? Explanations.
She felt... No, you suspend your disbelief. I know we bring that up with Andy, but this is not the way to do it.
I fucking hate these films so much.
I'm weirdly into it.
Rubber was okay because it was a tire, and I got along with a fucking tire more than these fucking people.
I'm weirdly into it. It seems every time you get annoyed at a film, I'm like, hello, yes, please.
Why are you into this shit? Oh, well, that's actually understandable from the fucking choices of film you've made from Out the Hat recently. Go on, Penny, sorry.
So Tanya's freaking out. She's gone home. She's got a gun, and she is live streaming. She's built herself a fort out of pool noodles and cardboard because apparently she doesn't want like any of that Final Destination shit.
Should have made.
That's why she's made like a squishy fort.
Out of what?
Squishy fort.
Pool noodles. Pool noodles.
Yeah.
Pool noodles. The things you have in a swimming pool that are made out of like
the big floats. Long
floats.
Yeah.
Right.
Pool noodles. It's important, and cardboard.
She should have made a maze like Dave did.
No, it would have been as good as Dave's. And she's freaking out, so she's live streaming it because apparently she's a vlogger.
Of course she is.
And so she's like, she's got the camera, but like she's got a torch and that goes out. And then she's got like a camping lantern and that goes out. And then she tries her phone light and that goes out. And then she's found a book light and that goes out. So then she tries glow sticks and they stop working. So all she's left with to create light in her fort, and it's quite a lot of light, it's very bright, is from a glow-in-the-dark dildo.
Right, yeah.
Dan's face. So then the camera batteries...
Sorry, Ben. Like those glow-in-the-dark stuff, it's normally like an element that's in the plastic that you have to give direct sunlight to, I think. So she must have been outside with that dildo, leaving it on like a sun lounger to absorb the light.
Watching.
Just in case she needs it.
So bright. It's so bright. Like I've got a glow-in-the-dark print on my wall that at certain times of year gets quite a lot of sunlight, and this thing was luminescent. They must have put a light in it. There's no way it was just glow-in-the-dark. It was so bright. So she's like, oh no, because the camera batteries start going, and then it just cuts to black, and there's screams and there's stabbing noises, and then when the camera comes back on, she's being strangled with a pool noodle. And you can only see that because of the light from the dildo.
Can you die from getting strangled by them? They're quite soft, aren't they?
Yeah, but then there were stabbing noises.
I mean, you can die from being strangled by anything, so...
Yeah, I think she was stabbed first. The thing is, the way that she was strangled by the pool noodle wasn't fooling anyone. It was badly done. This whole thing is badly done.
Right.
We switch back to AJ and Chris. AJ is in a dress and some makeup.
Why?
Not really sure what. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, fuck's sake. Pen, are you just bringing these films to piss me off? I really don't know. I don't know.
No, I told you I made a list of films that I thought would be good, and then I have to watch them.
Every single
and
one
sometimes
of
they're
them.
not good. Dave Made a Maze was good.
That was
this
good,
was not good.
yeah.
I can't Can't bring you gold all the time, Dan. Sorry. AJ
I like the shit ones, personally. That's up my street.
Yeah.
Then you never have to watch it. I've done you a favour.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't have watched it in the first fucking place. Now, go on.
So AJ couldn't find a free copy of the script to Friday. So he's like, so I printed out a different scene. And Chris is like, I'm not high, I can't do this. And AJ kind of puts sparkly glitter and stuff on him. And this is one of the only, I think, 2 bits that made me laugh, is that they end up acting out a scene from Twilight.
Pretty good. Pretty funny.
And it was actually pretty funny.
Pretty funny. Explains the glitter.
So they're stealing other people's stuff because they can't think of any other ideas. Great. Okay.
And then, Chris is like, I can't do this. I'm not high enough. We need to start acting out something that we both know. So they start acting out Romeo and Juliet. Because apparently
who knows Romeo and Juliet?
These idiots know Romeo and Juliet.
Well, but then they have an argument because one of them misses out a lie. It's very stupid. And then there's a knock at the door, and I'm like, don't answer it. So they answer it, and it's Kyle. Kyle's really mad at them because they're doing a different scene. So he says, I'll be back in an hour, and if you're there, then I'll kill you.
Oh.
Which makes no... their weird plan worked. So, yeah.
The weird plan worked?
Yeah, because Kyle turns up, and he's really mad at them. He's like, oh, if you're here, like, I'm going to kill you. I'll come back in an hour, and if you're still here, then I'm going to kill you.
Oh, so he's the killer, is he?
It makes no sense. Yep, because he's creepy Kyle.
Okay, you're just going to casually mention that.
I don't know what the fuck.
You could have said that. Yeah, could have mentioned that earlier instead of
just go with it for now. It'll be made. I don't want to say
This
clearer.
might be the worst one that you've picked
is not
out.
great.
Honestly,
I really want to watch it.
No, don't watch it.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
It feels like it was like 8 hours long. It was not good. I nearly didn't make it to the end. That's how bad it was. So Tom and Jesse go to find Tanya. Kyle is there, and Kyle's like, it wasn't me. I didn't kill her.
I was too busy trying to kill the other guys.
Yeah. So they go to Jesse's, and Tom and Jesse end up banging because she's like, shit, I don't want to die, so I will bang you. Tanya also turns into a zombie,
right,
even though there are no zombies near her.
Hang on, when did she die?
Bitten or anything by the other zombie? Or no?
Oh no, she got strangled.
Yeah. So
strangled by candy floss.
No, it's not candy floss, it's foam.
Whatever. Fucking.
The cuts are really bad because they're like, they found Tanya dead. Kyle's like, it wasn't me. So then they're like, right, well, we're going to leave. We'll go back to Jesse's house, and they leave. And then Tanya turns into a zombie, and then they cut back. Like, it's just, okay, so now this is here, and now we're back over there. There's a really cringy sex scene.
Oh.
They're banging for ages. Zombie Amy walks past the window and sees them banging and is visibly upset because she loves Tom. And it's like a really long sex scene, and they're kind of talking dirty to each other and stuff. And she's like, is that going to make you come? And he's like, nope, not even close. It's so weird. One point he's reading a book. Like, I don't know whether he's trying to make it last longer or just because she's a lesbian, and I don't...
If you've been affected by this episode, there will be a helpline at the end of the fucking podcast.
Was Amy dressed as...
They finished banging.
Sorry, you can continue.
Oh, yeah, she was still in her Star Trek... Yeah.
Excellent.
Amy was still in her Star Trek outfit. Jessie decides she's going to go and have a shower. Starts to get, because she feels gross. So she's going to get in the shower, and then, like, the tone of the scene changes. It gets a bit darker. I think there's some creepy music. Mm-hmm. So as if it's like, oh, this feels horror movie. And then she's literally like, I'm suddenly feeling much cleaner. I'm going to advance the plot in a much less vulnerable fashion. That's a direct quote. So she's like, I'm not going to advance the plot in a shower. I think I'm going to go do it another way.
So presumably she could hear the change in, like...
She can like see the change, like the lighting and stuff changes.
I quite like this. I quite like the way this is going.
Like,
you fucking kidding.
It's another good idea, very poorly executed.
You fucking asshole. You're just doing this to fucking piss me off. I know you are. I know you both are. You're just... This is the shit. I have to...
It's not about you, Dan.
No, but...
I thought it was a good premise.
Andy, you're going to have to carry this because I'm going to be in silence for a lot of this. I know.
It's fine. I'm fully on board. I'm going to sell the shit out of this film.
Okay, cool. Fine.
Someone make a better version of this, please. So, yeah, then there's more cliched horror movie stuff. Jesse and Tom decide to drive to go and see... No, they're driving around to go... They've decided to go to a cabin in the woods, which, if I was in a horror movie, is the last place I would go.
Yeah, they know they're in a horror film, so why are they doing that?
I know, because they've watched Cabin in the Woods, and they know that it's all great because it's a cabin in the woods and everything's fine.
They've got the cheat codes.
And they know what's going to happen next because they've seen Cabin in the Woods, and I know there's a monster coming.
They do mention that movie.
Fucking of course.
They were like, is there a black guy in Cabin in the Woods? And he's like, yeah, he got stabbed in the head with something. But so while they're driving to the cabin, they see zombie Amy, and Tom wants to stop. And Jesse's like, no, you can't stop driving when you're in a horror movie. Like, that's not how it works. So she makes him stop the car to switch seats so that she can drive. And she's like, we need to go to the... they need to go to the cabin. She's like, so we can finish this movie and I can go back to my real life. And because you don't stop driving in a horror movie, she runs over like 8 people. Just because. Like, she's just literally running over people in the street and loving it.
Do you honestly like this, Andy? Is this actually making you laugh?
Yeah.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm making it sound better than it was.
You know, the bit where you said, like just knocking over people is fine. But, like, when we take a similar film like Rubber, when you said he was hitting chairs when he didn't need to, that was funny. Because it was chairs and it was like they were out of the way and it didn't... That sound odd. This just seems like cliche, stereotype, a copy of other films.
Yeah, are you saying it's not funny in Shaun of the Dead when they do it?
When they run over people?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's logic to it. Because he's got the car and he's...
There's logic to this. They can't stop.
There isn't logic
in
to
both
this
films,
at all.
they can't stop driving. Otherwise
There's no
they get
fucking
attacked.
logic.
So they keep
Penny
driving.
just said... No. Penny just said she just gets in the car and randomly knocks over people for some reason.
Yeah, she's running over innocent pedestrians and she's enjoying it. And he's like, you don't need to be running all these people over. And she's like, yeah,
She said, we can't stop. We need to keep moving. So that's what she's doing. She can't stop for people who are walking in front of her in the middle of the road. She has to keep going.
God, Andy, stop. I know what you're fucking doing and I'm going to fucking stab you in the head if you don't stop.
You've got to catch me. I'm going to keep driving. I'm not allowed to stop.
Fuck off. Carry on. Sorry.
Tom's looking behind them because, you know, she's running over all these people. And then he sees a man in the back of their car. And it's one of those,
it's like urban legend.
Like the screaming between the two of them. No, it's not like urban legend at all. There's a little man in the... I say little man. There's a man in the footwell of the car. And they're both screaming at each other because they've seen each other. And then I see a boom mic. The man in the back of the car has a boom mic. And they're screaming at each other. And he's like, you can't see me. I'm not here. You can't see me. And then Jesse stabs him. So he's like...
How can you not appreciate that, though? That's gold.
Like, that was the only... Because he turns out to be the sound guy.
Yeah.
So this bit was quite good. So he's the sound guy. So that's the only kind of other thing that makes you go, oh, they're in a movie.
Now, they could nail this if they do it right. Does the sound cut out for the rest of the film?
Not the rest of the film. But there's at one... okay, so they do explain it. So she's stabbing him and they're screaming and whatever. And then he just goes, hold for sound. And everybody stops. And you can hear a plane go overhead. And then he goes, carry on. And they carry on the scene again.
Yeah.
Because obviously they didn't want the plane in the background.
What plane?
There's just a plane overhead.
There was just
so they
a
stopped
plane.
recording the sound and then continued afterwards.
Overhead.
But also,
So
Dan, if you stab a sound guy, he's still recording. He's still holding a mic that's still active.
Yeah.
Nah. No, because then they start speaking and there's no sound and it's just subtitles. And he's like, there's no sound because you killed the fucking sound guy.
the mic isn't attached to his heartbeat. So they
do a bit.
So...
No, but then he finds the microphone and then they can speak again. So you both win on that one.
I don't think anyone fucking wins in this one. Jesus.
No, especially because my next note says, how are there 40 minutes left?
Oh, fuck. I'm so in. I can't wait to watch this.
Tom has to pee. They're not allowed to stop the car for pedestrians, but they stop the car because Tom has to pee. And I don't know if this is a boy thing, but he has to find the right tree. He can't just pee anywhere. He has to find the right tree.
Are you what?
She's like, what's wrong with the 2 trees we just walked past? And he's like, I'm looking for the right tree. And then he sees a tree that's literally just lit up on its own, like, ah.
I mean, I don't necessarily...
Is that meant to be a joke? I don't know what this is.
I don't necessarily disagree with that because sometimes places feel better than others when you're about to piss. But
I thought guys could pee anywhere. I don't know.
If you know,
it's stretching it, man. That's really stretching a joke to get some laugh out of.
Well, that's what they're trying to do, yeah.
So then he's having a pee and zombie Tanya attacks Jesse with the dildo.
How did she keep up with the car?
No logic.
Zombies. They must be running zombies, not walking zombies.
Right, yeah.
Then we cut back to Chris and AJ. They're somewhere else. They're now doing a period drama with guns.
Okay.
In a cabin.
That's the only funny bit I found so far. That's brilliant. That's the only good bit.
Oh, that is so good.
They are in, I don't want to say whiteface, but they are in whiteface with white wigs on, like proper old, and they're sipping tea and they've got makeup on and they're like, oh yes, jolly good show. Like that sort of period drama.
That gets 1 point. So they're on -9 at the moment.
And then Jesse and Tom manage to get away from zombie Tanya and they end up in the same cabin, and it turns out that they're like, why are you in a cabin? And Chris and AJ say they ran out of gas on their way to Seattle because nobody dies in Seattle, which is the second time they've mentioned that nobody dies in Seattle.
Right.
And I don't really
understand. Does that get explained later?
Why that's a... Nope. Apparently they're just like, people don't die in Seattle.
Is that a Kurt Cobain reference?
No.
Am I stretching that? Because this film likes to stretch shit.
It's not a Cobain.
I don't know. What does it mean?
They mention it later on. They're like, let's go to Seattle. No one dies in Seattle. Like in horror movies, I guess. Everybody dies in Texas? Or
that's what they're trying to say. Right.
Yeah. Because normally, like, people, they're trying to get up north, aren't they, to get away from things.
Yeah.
But if it's in Hollywood, north of Hollywood is Seattle, so...
Not in England.
Let's head up to Manchester. We'll be safe. Up north.
Go up north.
Sorry,
up to Yorkshire.
It's all right. I'm just trying to get through it. I don't want to be told off for being too long.
Yes, please.
So then
sorry.
There's a whole unnecessary catch-up where Tom and Jesse tell Chris and AJ what happened, but we don't need to know this because I just fucking watched it. Anyway. They all go to sleep. They all go to sleep in the cabin. It's pitch black. You hear some stabbing noises, and it turns out AJ is dead. AJ has been stabbed.
Right.
Chris gets all excited because that means he's the only black guy left, and that means he's LL Cool J. So he gets very excited, and he falls over and he hurts his leg.
Just like LL Cool J did.
Jesse is like, oh, are you okay? He's like, yeah, he says something like, it's just a minor injury that affects my mobility but won't stop me swooping in at the end to save the day.
Yeah.
Very meta. Yeah.
Like LL Cool J.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So Kyle turns up and has a fight with Tom.
Right.
And, sorry, I couldn't read my own handwriting.
Who has a fight with Tom?
Right.
Chris.
Kyle, the creepy Kyle turns up and has a fight
Remember
with
Kyle?
Tom.
I was hoping for an LL Cool J Mama Say Knock You Out joke, but it's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah. Kyle turns up and has decided that Tom is the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Tom is the murderer.
Why?
Yeah.
So he's like, Tom, they have a fight, and he's like, you have to kill me. So he, like, helps Tom stab him in the stomach.
Right.
He's like, right, you have to stab me in the stomach, and then he does his last words and whatever. So I'm like, right. So now Tom's the killer because it's not. This is where it's going to get a little bit confusing. So then
it's already fucking. Oh, God.
So then Jessie comes out with the knife that was in AJ, and she sees Tom, and Tom has stabbed Kyle, and she's like, you're the bad guy. And he's like, no, you are. And then they're like, no, you are. And then they talk about who killed who. So Jessie admits to stabbing Tanya, and then Tom's like, yeah, but I strangled her with the pool noodle.
Right.
Jessie says
That classic scene.
Yeah, so they've both killed people.
Right.
Because he's like, well, I've killed Kyle and you've killed Tanya. So they're arguing over who's killed who and who's the bad guy. They have a fight. And the only other bit in the film that made me laugh is that Jessie is replaced with a stunt double who is a dude in a wig that looks nothing like her, and they do karate.
Fantastic.
That was really good.
Absolutely fantastic.
Actually, they make a reference. He's like, what? A stunt double? Where was my stunt double a minute ago? So they make reference to it, obviously.
Brilliant.
Kyle wakes up as a zombie. He strangles both Jessie and Tom. He's strangling them both with each hand. And then when he sees zombie Tanya, who's also turned up, he drops them both and they have a zombie fight.
Right.
Didn't think zombies fought each other. But anyway. Zombie Amy turns up and bites Tom while him and Jessie are fighting. She's like, Chris, I could really use your LL Cool J moment right now. So Chris runs in, falls and hurts his leg again. Doesn't save anybody. Jessie stabs Tom. And here's the bit for you, Dan. There is a twist. You ready for the twist? You like a twist.
I'm so excited. Here we go.
It turns out AJ is not dead. He comes out of the bedroom and they're like, "You're dead." He's like, "No, I only stabbed myself like here in the ribs or something." He's like, he says where he stabbed himself and he's like, "It's completely survivable." And it was actually all him and Chris. They pitted Jesse and Tom against each other because they're like, the black guys always die, so they killed everybody so that they wouldn't die.
Right.
So now everyone is dead except Chris and AJ. They shoot all of the zombies, so they are the only two left.
Yeah.
And that's the end.
I mean, I'm not against it.
I am. It could have been a good premise. It was really badly done.
What was the budget for it, do you know?
I did not look. You can talk amongst yourselves while you
That's
look.
not the end, is it?
Well, that is...
That's not the story they were trying to tell, sure. Is that
Yeah,
honest?
AJ and Chris leave the cabin and then there's a post-credit scene, and I only know this because I was like, why is there still like... There was still a really long time left on the thing. The post-credit scene, a zombie hand, like a bloody zombie hand, is like coming out of like the bottom of the screen. Chris and AJ run back in and then they shoot it, and it's pointless, just like this film. So I thought it was a good premise when I read the synopsis, which is why I picked it. It was terribly long. I was, after half an hour, I was like, how much fucking longer? And then obviously I put, oh my God, how are there 40 minutes left? It has a 3.6 out of 10 on this is 2016.
Oh.
I had written down 2014. I don't really know. I think it said 14 on the site that I watched it on. It says it's an hour and 47 minutes. 3.6 out of 10.
So recommending?
No, watch Dave Made a Mate. Watch.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'd say watch most. Normally, like if they're bad, like adult babies, they're still worth watching. If you're
Adult
into that
Baby
sort of thing.
sounds better than this shit.
Yeah, this was not worth watching at all.
But I mean, it's deliberate. Like, it is a spoof. It's in the same category as Scary Movie, isn't it? It's like they are deliberately making observations.
No, it's in the same category. It's not the same. Yeah, but not very well. It was.
Yeah, but times have changed. Like, we have a different perspective of like horror films now than we did then, and the horror films that were enjoyable in the 90s that were looked at.
This wasn't the
in
90s, though.
That's not the point,
Shut
though,
up, I'm still
Andy.
talking. I'm still
Sorry,
talking.
2016,
Sorry,
according
Lena.
to Wikipedia.
So the films in the 90s that Scary Movie touch on, they're not around anymore. You don't really get those sort of films. They're all reboots and shit. So it sounds like they're sort of playing on those films instead of more current horror films. If they'd looked at more recent films, it might have worked better as an up-to-date Scary Movie. It just sounds like it's really badly aged because it's looking at something that's not relevant anymore in terms of horror.
Wikipedia now says 2016, but then it also says it's got a runtime of 107 minutes. But according
Did
to...
you watch 2 movies and combined?
She watched the extended edition.
No, but I've got a couple of quotes from the reception of the movie that are on Wikipedia at the moment.
I can't wait.
Apparently,
Maintaining.
despite the cast and crew's obvious enthusiasm for the film, it is too inept and unfunny to enjoy. And Mark Miller of Ain't It Cool News positively compared it to the Scary Movie film series and called it a clever and fun film that suffers from poor pacing.
Yeah.
So everyone thought it was too fucking long.
Yeah, so, I mean, they could have cut bits and pieces out by the sound of it. And, like, I imagine there's a lot of exposition and stuff that's largely irrelevant. But they could have done it pretty cleanly, I think. It sounds like an extended Key and Peele sketch to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would, yeah. But not as good as Key and Peele.
But not as
Well, yeah,
definitely.
obviously, but it's
Yeah.
the same sort of observations that they would have made.
Yeah.
But
in
they've
2
just
minutes. In 2 minutes, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've just
And
sort of
things
dragged
like-
it out.
And things like her being like, oh, I'm going to advance the plot in a like less vulnerable way, and they would point bits of it out. Like, oh yeah, but it's just the shame that the rest of it was so...
Yeah, but that shit always happens in horror films. Like, you know, you look back at Psycho and stuff, there's been hundreds of films since where someone has been done in the shower.
So, I mean, that bit was good, but the good bits were very few and far between. Like I said, there was only 2 bits that made me laugh. And then everything else, like, she would drop that line and you'd go, oh, yeah, because in the shower.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I get it, yeah.
Yeah, and the sound guy in the back of the car who, like...
That was, yeah.
That's what's like. I think that's quite clever. Like, I just think it needed...
Poorly executed.
Don't
I've
say
saved
it's
you
quite
time.
clever or anything, please, Andy.
No, that's the thing, is because it would be clever if it was well done. It was not well done.
It's just a poor execution. Like general premise sounds good. There's some aspects of it that sounds quite not creative, but like meta and like observationalist. But then if the execution is piss poor, then that's what's going to be remembered. But there are parts of it that I'm kind of on board with, because I'm thinking, if that's done properly, that's like a monumental piece that will then be well remembered.
Let me tell you a good film that's not in like that horror genre, but it's completely fucking random and it makes no sense. Aeroplane, right? Aeroplane is one of the funniest fucking films of all time because it's so fucking random and it makes no fucking sense half the time. But it's not done where it's following like rules of a certain fucking genre. So it's not like, oh, this is where the killer comes in and this is where this does. And to be honest, Penn, you have brought up a lot of these films, and it seems like everyone fucking does this now. Like, I get that you might want to make a horror spoof, but there seems to be everyone follows the same, like, structure of what
they're
you
like,
need to do in it.
Like you said, like they were better for Scary Movie, like it's been done.
Yeah.
It's been done.
Like,
it's just been done. Leave it. Move on. But
like Scary Movie was the first of those films to do it for a whole genre.
Yeah.
Like,
and it did it for a long time.
And obviously, like stuff like Blazing Saddles and Airplane and Naked Gun
Yeah,
were similar.
Naked Gun as well.
They were obviously more narrative driven, but they didn't like reflect back on a whole genre in the same way that Scary Movie did, and that's why Scary Movie was quite interesting and reflected that whole decade.
I was not entertained.
That's the thing. If you don't have an entertaining like narrative underneath all of that randomness, you just have the randomness, and it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with you, but also this film is out like 15 years after Scary Movie. In fact, it's probably 20 years after Scary Movie. Scary Movie was early 2000s.
I was like 16, I think. My parents took me to see Scary Movie.
So 40 years after Scary Movie then.
Exactly. It was I had a hoop and a stick, and we'd play outside with our pet dinosaurs.
Yeah.
tire on a
Big
tree.
stakes on the side of the car made them topple over.
Oh, guys, I got this new game. It's called Jenga.
You know what it
But
is?
the fact that like Scary Movie did it that long ago and nailed it pretty much, and then there were some fucking dreadful sequels.
Yeah.
Progressively,
'cause it just
all of
died.
those films have got worse, and you've had, Not Another Teen Movie is a good film, and aside from those two, you're kind of not many after them are that good. They just decided to keep rebranding and looking at specific types of films like disaster movie or epic movie, and that's still going on now. And because everything has already been done, they are getting progressively worse. So there are concepts in this that I think are good and would work, but it's the execution. I can't believe we're having an actual fucking debate about this film, and I'm having to stand up for it, having not seen it, and just going on Penn's analysis.
Well, you know what I think it is? Like with Reality, it was a good premise, poorly executed. I feel like I've picked a lot of films because, again, I'm picking them either from the ridiculous name or the synopsis.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, that's a good thing. Like, they're not necessarily trying to recreate Scary Movie, but horror, they're always trying to do something different. They're always trying to... So they've got, like, this one thing, like a horror movie, like a murderer who makes his own, like, creepy dating show. That's quite a good premise. It was poorly done. Oh, they ended up in a horror movie. You could do it a bunch of different ways. You could make it fucking horror Jumanji if you wanted. I feel like a lot of the films I've picked that have got like a good premise, if you could pick and choose bits of it, or like you say, do it properly, then that would be great. But
So Scary...
Also... No, go on.
Sorry, Penn. I'm still
I've got
thinking
nothing.
about Scary
Go.
Movie. So Scary Movie was out in 2000 and had a budget of like 19 million? 10 million? 19 million?
I can't
19
find a budget
million.
for this.
And that's like a hell of a lot. Particularly 20 years ago. These films that are coming out now, like Reality, have got,
Nothing.
20 grand maybe, if we're being generous.
Which sometimes works, like that, like horror in the 60s and 70s and things being...
Yeah.
You get more creative because, especially with practical effects, you get more creative with things because you're on a...
But the expectations are higher these days. So like the films in the 60s, like Hammer Horror, the budgets were pretty piss poor and low, but the expectations are obviously higher now because there are bigger budget films. So you have to have like, you either have to be like really key at making sure all your angles are right or making it well written, like clearly and well done. Otherwise it's never going to survive. Like there are low budget horror films that work, and like fucking
well, that's it.
what was the shit? Paranormal Activity was like $20,000.
Well, I think,
and yeah, it came out 10 years ago, but it still managed to like rebrand horror for a period of time because it had a low budget and it did things well and knew what its strengths were. And I think a lot of horror films these days don't know what that is. They're just they've got like a key idea and think, well, we can do this, but don't think about the attainability of it.
Yeah, I think horror has always lent itself to low budget.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to do a low budget period drama, or they're not going to do a low budget action movie. So it's almost more acceptable. They're like, oh, I've got this idea for a horror movie. I can Neil Breen that shit. But
they've got to do it within their means, and I think that's why I get frustrated with Neil Breen, aside from the shit acting, is that like he tries to do things that he can't feasibly do. I mean, you look at Clerks and it is just done in one room, but it is, you know, arguably a masterpiece depending on how angsty you're feeling.
Even with this, you didn't see anyone getting stabbed.
Yeah.
You didn't see any deaths. It was very obvious because they would cut to black.
Yeah.
There wasn't even that much.
It would all be off screen, and then you just see like the after effects, which is a cheaper way of doing it. Like,
yeah, and it looked shitty. But like Funny Games, all the violence. Funny Games is incredible though.
Yeah.
But all the violence is off screen, and it's really unnerving.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just like, it was cheap. It was. I don't know what the budget was. I don't know. I feel like it came out at a film festival, and then it was just put out into the, you know. So it's not a. I was gonna say a proper movie. That's not what I mean. But you know, there's also you get more levels of horror movie, I think, than you do than like you say, like action movies and things. And that's just. And then some of those films, you know, that get made, whatever the budget, even if they're like a big budget or a small budget, and they're good bad, that's fine. But this was a bad. Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, sorry, man. I feel like we've slightly gone down a rabbit hole of talking too in depth about it as a genre.
Nah, it's fine. It's better than.
I don't know if it's interesting or anything, but like I think that's why I'm quick to defend these films, is because their core concept is interesting, but execution is like a big part of that. And if they can't execute it, then that's fine. But I will.
And I think that's why you're like, why do you always bring these films? Because my chosen genre has more of them.
Yeah.
Like if I was into action movies, I wouldn't be able to find as many of these, I don't think.
That's true. I think horror is very difficult to pull off.
Yeah.
But this is not a horror film.
Well, no, but like I said, I went from titles and synopsis. I nearly watched Killer Unicorn instead today, so take that as you will.
I mean,
that sounds amazing.
Yeah, bring that next week.
Again,
do
you want to hear, like, I've got...
That sounds
what's
better.
on my list? Spunk's Not Dead, Killer Unicorn, Fetish Factory, Bed of the Dead.
Shall we go?
Hack House.
I mean,
I'm just fucking with you. Like, these are all ones that are on my list that could be fucking horrendous.
I am interested in the Spunk Factory, but whatever it's called.
Fetish Factory.
They would. Fetish Factory.
What's the Spunk one you said?
Spunk's Not Dead.
Spunk's Not Dead sounds interesting, but the unicorn, I think the unicorn one is the next one.
That's it. That's all I've got is a list of names that I made ages ago, and then every now and then I'll Google them, read the synopsis, and see what I'm in the mood for. So
put yourself through
apologies. Yeah. So there you go, everyone.
Wow. And what was that film called again?
Oh my god. Sorry, it's not even called Oh my god. It's called OMG. We're in a horror movie.
Well, if you would like to watch that, that's the film.
Don't bother.
Don't watch it. But apparently Andy's going to watch it, so there you go.
If I can find it, I'll watch it. I'm genuinely curious.
Oh, man.
He hasn't watched Adult Babies yet. He won't watch it.
No.
Sorry, that was
I need to pick myself up again.
That was another long one. Sorry.
It's fine. It's okay.
Interesting conversation, though. I mean, like, we don't necessarily do enough of that sometimes.
Yeah, but now we can. When we have no film out of the hat, we can just fill it with all sorts of conversations. Get the conversation flowing. Fuck, I'm mighty depressed. Jesus Christ.
One night, 6 friends sat down to play a game. Little did they know that soon they would be playing for their lives. Watch as their once simple night turns into a terrifying game where the only rule is murder. And the one they least suspected is the one to betray them all.
What is your favourite 90s film? So here's why I ask, right? Sean Connery died recently. I watched The Rock, and it is fucking fantastic, but it's quite 90s. However,
it is fucking amazing, that film.
It's so good. It's so good. But there are more 90s film, and I'm using 90s as like an almost pejorative term for shit films that are action based.
Yeah, I'm not happy about this.
Me neither.
90s action films. What's your go-to?
Oh,
I don't have one.
Matrix.
Because you
first
said
one, 99.
action films.
Matrix, the first one.
That was 99, right? 98, 99?
98, 99, yeah. So it's 90s still.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you.
I mean,
good.
there's a lot. I could name like every Bruce Willis film that he's been in, and every fucking Keanu Reeves film. Speed. We were talking about Speed earlier.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Speed's fun.
There is one 90s film that is more 90s than any other 90s film released in the 90s. And that is Con Air.
Of course, it's Con Air.
Con Air.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the perfect film, right? It's like schlocky action. Nicolas Cage, John Cusack, John Malkovich, Dave Chappelle's in it, Ving Rhames, Danny Trejo. Like, they are just
Dave
names.
Chappelle's in it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They are names associated with the 90s. It is perfect. So, like, the basic plot, of course, is like a US Army Ranger accidentally kills a dude, so goes to jail, and then on the release date, he gets put on a plane with a load of other convicts who then take over the plane.
It's so silly. It's so silly.
Like, there seems to be like
so
they've got like 15, 20 prisoners on there and 3 guards, and it's like, why are there no of safety captures to stop that happening?
Asking for trouble.
Yeah. The fact that no one thinks that through is ridiculous. So, like, my favourite part about this film is the fact that you can tell exactly when it was made, because there's just some key giveaways. Like, the fact that midway through John Malkovich says, "Welcome to Con Air." Just announces, like, the title of the film. Like, yeah.
Like in Scream, when they have to be like, "It's a Scream, baby," so you can put the title in the movie.
Yeah, it goes straight in the trailer, like, every single time. And you know you're getting, like, the voiceover guy from the trailer going, like, talking bollocks, and then you're getting John Malkovich closing the trailer with "Welcome to Con Air." It's ridiculous.
Fun fact. Mm-hmm. Did you know that Scream's original title was Scary Movie, but they changed it?
I did, obviously. Yeah. That's why they called it Scary Movie.
Yeah. That's why they had to put the "It's a Scream, baby" bit in it, just in case people forgot what they were watching while they were, like, 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Yeah, but
they wanted to put the name of the movie in the. I know. I
don't think I've ever watched a film, forgotten what it's called midway through until they've said, "This is being John Malkovich." Like, do you know what I mean?
Me neither. But that was one of the things, is they wanted to get the title of the movie in the movie, so that's why they put that.
I don't need reminding.
I'm not saying you do.
So 90s, obviously, there are some incredible mullets.
Yep.
We've all seen that picture of Nicolas Cage getting off the bus as he's getting his first taste of freedom for a long time. Just breathing in that desert
That's how
air.
you feel when you get off a plane when you're on holiday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and you go to a warm country and you get off the plane and you're like... Oh.
And you're like, fuck me, it's so hot. Why am I wearing 2 jumpers?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, because it was 3 a.m. when I got on the flight and -4 in London.
Exactly.
But, like, every time you see him, his hair is moving. So even on the plane, when he's sat in his seat, like, there's a gust of wind that just keeps his mullet blowing in the air, as if, like, Dave Chappelle was just behind him blowing to keep it looking like it's flowing.
Maybe it was contractual.
It might have been. But the weird thing is, like, there's all the talk about his mullet being, I'm going to say unbelievable, but I'm not sure if I mean it in a good or a bad way. But there's no good hair in that film. Like, Cusack has got a 5 head.
Yeah.
Is like... And Cole Meany as well, the two detectives. They look like blocks of cheese with wigs on. They're just like, they're just never-ending foreheads.
Isn't there, in the film, I can't remember his exact name, but I think it's Johnny, is it 23?
Johnny 23, yeah. Danny Trejo, yeah.
Because he tried to rape 23 times, isn't it? Or something, isn't it?
So he has a tattoo on his arm for every one of his victims. He's got 23 victims.
Yeah.
And he says to one of the
Johnny 23.
guards, who's a woman, I'm going to make myself Johnny 24. And then looks at someone else and said, they call me Johnny 600 if they knew the truth. John Malkovich says, yeah, it doesn't have the same ring to it though, does it?
Johnny 23 is the fucking worst name ever.
Oh, the names are so bad. Like,
I can't remember the rest.
Diamond Dog. Ving Rhames plays a guy called Diamond Dog, and it's
Dog.
like, what is he, like a perfectly acceptable David Bowie album?
Isn't there like Big Baby or something? Or Baby...
There's a Swamp Thing.
Fuck's sake.
There's a big, like, fuck off redneck dude. Again, he might have the best head of hair, actually. He's also got a banging tash who's called Swamp Thing.
It's the DC universe.
Yeah. There's another one, I can't remember what they're called. Sally Can't Dance.
It's not very nice.
Yeah.
Who is like they I mean, it's fine, but they obviously have to have like a really camp prisoner who wanders around in a dress in the third act and call him Sally Can't Dance.
Oh, yeah.
Which is fine. It just feels a bit like, I'm not sure it would fly that well now.
I just looked
not.
up the names to refresh my memory. Fucking, I forgot John Malkovich. It's called Cyrus the Virus.
Oh.
Cyrus the Virus. And of course, Nick Cage is called Cameron Poe, and for some reason that makes me laugh, because all I can think of is like one of the Teletubbies with a mullet.
Joe Pinball
How
Parker.
is that your first? How's that your Poe go-to?
What other Poe should I think of?
Edgar Allan.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, he almost had a mullet, didn't he?
He's my go-to Poe, not
Got a raven on one arm and a mullet at the back.
I mean,
business in the front.
That's your go-to Poe?
Yeah, Edgar Allan Poe.
Wow.
Not Poe from the Teletubbies. Are there any more Poes?
Yeah, but we're different generations, aren't we, Ben?
Yeah,
I forgot
true.
how crazy these fucking names are. William Billy Bellum Bedford.
Bedlam.
Bedlam Bedford.
Billy Bedlam.
Billy Bedlam Bedford.
Now he's got, I would say he's got late 90s hair. He's got like punk band hair that sort of sticks up and is a bit greasy and stuff.
Oh, I miss Christian Slater's 90s hair more than I miss a lot of things.
It is very Christian Slater's hair, I think.
I wish he'd stayed in the 90s.
But like
forever.
they all look ridiculous. They've either got massive foreheads, mullets, or they're bald, apart from Billy Bedlam and Steve Buscemi, who's got classic 90s boy band hair. Curtains. I think they're called. Curtains. And he's fucking weird in it. He's like, it seems really placid and like almost like a nice person, very endearing to the other people. But he's also like eaten 37 people.
He's eaten them.
Yeah, he's like some sort of cannibal. And then at the end, he starts singing He's Got the Whole World in His Hands with a small child whilst holding a doll. But they're in like
I'm starting to wonder if I've even seen this film, because I'm not remembering any of it, but it must have just been forever ago.
I'm getting little flashbacks.
They're in like a drained swimming pool. There's like a swimming pool with nothing in it apart from like a small table and one girl. You never see anyone else in the desert apart from this one girl. She's got I'm going to say a 4-foot doll sitting in the chair opposite her, which he just picks up and slings away and then sits down and starts singing songs with her.
Yeah. It's the 90s, man. It was all about them musical numbers.
Yeah.
And there were so many empty swimming pools in 90s movies. Like
There wasn't there?
Unless they're made of concrete, you can't actually leave the water out of them for that long because they collapse. They have to be like proper solid concrete. But apparently in the 90s, everyone in America had a swimming pool. An empty swimming pool that you could skateboard in.
It's weird, isn't it? I mean, a lot of the ones that you skateboard in are concrete, in fairness.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't leave the water out for too long.
Even Hackers had a cafe that was a big skate park. which you could consider a swimming pool in.
Well, that was a 90s film as well, wasn't it? And there was some
It was.
dreadful haircuts in that.
Yeah, and names.
You leave Matt Lillard
And
out
names
of this.
too.
We love him.
Fucking names, everything is just
Yeah.
wrong with the nice.
Yeah. Oh, I'm acid burn. Look at my barnet.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I'm just going to bite my tongue.
Was when Pulp Fiction was 93?
Pulp Fiction was early 90s, yeah. Reservoir Dogs. Good
John
hair.
Travolta's hair.
We can't talk about
Yeah,
John
that's
Travolta's
true.
hair.
Travolta's hair was not good. But he was the only one with hair in that film, apart from Uma Thurman.
Was that when he still had
Yeah,
hair?
it was long,
Yeah.
like really long, unnecessarily.
Because didn't he finally give up with the wigs recently? I think I saw a picture of him wigless.
I think he gave up with wigs a while ago.
Was he wearing wigs?
Oh, for years.
I need to get in on that.
Oh,
Full of wigs.
Full of wigs.
maybe he could
So many wigs.
afford that hair transplant thing that we were talking about, where it was like $5,000, wasn't it, or
He
something?
could, yeah.
There you go.
I'm surprised he never did that, actually.
Well, he might have. It might not have worked. But going back to the music, I mean, just randomly there's like excessive guitar riffs as like, so they're landing at this airfield and it's coming
best
in
bit
and
of that
suddenly you
film.
just hear like some wailing guitar and you're like, why? Yeah, but
not?
there's,
So
not, there's
good.
not even a fucking melody. It's just like they're just hitting like the 14th fret on the bottom E string, top
It's
E, and it's
Con
like
Air.
doing nothing. It's just, but it's also the worst part of that film.
Oh, no, it's so
because
good.
they spend the whole film like being overly macho, and like there's sweaty dudes pulling planes and stuff and throwing people out of fucking helicopters or whatever, and then it cuts to like a fucking Leanne Rimes song, but it's not actually Leanne Rimes.
Isn't it? How do I live without you or
How
something?
do
Isn't
I
it?
live
Yeah.
Is it? Oh yeah.
It is.
without you?
But it's not Leanne Rimes singing it.
Maybe they
which is
couldn't
even
afford
weirder.
her.
Because but they both those songs got released at the same year.
Yeah.
97,
Yeah. 97.
and they were written by someone else. So like,
Yeah.
I like to think they tapped up Leanne Rimes and she was like, "No, sorry, I'm not interested." Okay, we'll ask this other prick who's sung it instead. All right, fine. But like, it's so incredibly 90s. Nothing in it makes sense. Like they attach a car to the back of a plane, and somehow it can still take off, even though it's not weighing down the front of it.
Just
Someone gets stuck in the wheel arch of a plane. They send fucking attack helicopters after a tourist plane because they're like, oh, the black box, and John Cusack's like, no, you're going the wrong way. And he's like, fuck that, we're going to take this cunt out.
oh.
And then we're going to take this prick out. And then they attack this like tourist plane, Scenic Bob's tours or whatever. And there's just an old woman in the like window of the tour plane just waving at them. And it's like, how? You've nearly got shot out of the sky.
I do like the fact that they actually used real planes, though. Like a lot of it was shot like properly, not CGI.
I think
and
it
stuff.
was, yeah.
I do like that about it.
There are some really bad CGI
Yeah.
scenes near the end. Like,
Yeah.
so in the closing sort of scenes, they somehow managed to, like, I don't know what happens to the plane. I wasn't really paying attention. I think they fuck up the engines as it's taken off,
Yeah, I can't remember.
and they have to land it in Vegas. But instead of landing it at an airstrip or, I don't know, the fucking desert that surrounds it in hundreds of miles, they have to land it in the middle of the strip.
It's so good.
Which you would never be able to do because the traffic
No.
on the strip is ridiculous.
It's fucking ridiculous. And yet somehow when they're trying to land it, there's no one there.
The only way they'd be able to do
don't
that in
they
Vegas
clear
is
it
if they
out?
did it now. Like,
No,
'cause there's
it's
no
like
one there.
people see the plane and think, fuck that, I'm getting off that road.
No, I thought it.
'Cause,
I
like-
thought the police is like, oh, the plane's about to land, so they evacuate everyone. Is that not how it works?
But they can't evacuate the whole of the
I
strip in
guess,
about
yeah.
2 minutes. Because where are they going to put them?
Don't know. In this casinos. I don't know.
Yeah,
You
some
wouldn't-
guy's complaining about his Corvette that's like parked outside and they're asking him to move it and he doesn't, and then it gets fucked up by the plane and it's like, oh, he should have moved it. What?
Imagine Neil Breen and Double Down cross reference. He's like, Neil Breen is about to blow up Vegas, and that fucking plane is heading to.
Oh, that would be great.
There you go.
You think that's going to be the end bit when they crash the plane in Vegas. And then suddenly John Malkovich fucks off onto the back of a fire truck. And he's like pissing around a fire truck. And then you get the double act we all wanted to see. John Cusack and Nicolas Cage. Mm-hmm. That's a buddy cop film I'd like to watch.
That would be good.
Instead of just 5 minutes of them fucking around on
In
motorbikes.
2020? In 2020.
It could happen.
I mean, yeah, it'd be incredible now because, like, I think John Cusack is still quite like a straight actor, whereas Nick Cage will just do any old bollocks. So
Depends if he needs more dinosaur bones.
That's true.
well, I've seen the list of films he's doing this year, and they do look fucking terrible.
He must need more dinosaur bones.
So they're on the back of motorbikes and they're chasing after this fire truck, and then John Malkovich uses a hose on one of them from the top of the truck.
Which will push you further back if you were to use it because of the power of it.
Yeah, but it would also knock whoever it hits off the bike, and they're like totally fine, just a little bit wet.
Take that.
It's like he's been hit with like a super soaker and not. But also, those fire trucks have to be plugged into hydrants.
They do.
So how the fuck is he getting like water on the back of a fire truck?
Because it's got...
Because the 90s.
90s,
That's exactly
yeah.
right. It's the 90s.
Suspend your disbelief for one moment, will you?
Yeah.
It's a Nick Cage film.
So Nick Cage then gets onto the back of the fire truck by using the ladder.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He jumps and grabs the back of a ladder. And then Malkovich tries to harpoon him. Why is there a harpoon on a fire truck in Vegas? There's not many whales there.
I've never seen one there in Vegas.
Just in case.
The only whales in Vegas are the ones at the buffet.
Ooh, is that a diss? I don't know.
I once went to a buffet. In fairness, this was in Cuba, but it was an American guy who walked up, saw there was a pineapple, like half a pineapple that had coleslaw in that people were taking spoonfuls out. So he took a spoonful out, put it on a plate, and then took the whole pineapple and just left that other spoonful for everyone else. And I have never been so shocked in my life. It was such a baller move. So there's not much of this left. I'm pretty much done with the 90s at this point. It feels like I've lived the whole of the 90s watching this film again. It was, all it needed was a bit of...
Isn't at the end... I mean, we've kind of already spoiled it, but isn't at the end Steve Buscemi, is he the only one who's around or alive or not in jail? Is that right?
So the closing shot, and I'll come back to Cyrus the Virus in a minute, closing shot is Steve Buscemi at a...
Casino, in it?
He's at a casino.
Yeah.
I think he's throwing crabs, and he's like... He's throwing dice, and he's like coming up big.
Oh, yeah.
He's like winning a shitload of money, and he's like, oh yes, I'm feeling very lucky. It's like, he's just killed 37 people. He nearly ate a child in a swimming pool, and now he's got the big time. He's living in Vegas, he's making money throwing bones. It's genius. But so Cyrus the Virus, Malkovich eventually gets stuck on the top of a ladder, so Nick Cage starts...
Have you had an accident at work?
He gets handcuffed to the top of a ladder as it's like in this tunnel that seems to be 67 miles long because they never get to the end of it.
Yeah.
So Nick Cage starts to raise the ladder into the roof of the tunnel just as they get out of the tunnel so he doesn't get fucked up. Meanwhile, I should add, Cusack is trying to drown Swamp Thing by putting the hose through the roof. And he's like splashing around. The water pressure hasn't managed to smash the windows from the inside out, and he didn't think to open the windows.
Remember, these are the most dangerous criminals.
They are convicts and they are fucking incompetent. They're happy to steal a plane and can do that with no ease, but can't open the window on a fire truck. This is like a spoiler. Cyrus dies by the ladder going up far enough that they hit this like walkway over the road, and he catapults through the window of either side of this walkway. Even though he was handcuffed to the ladder a minute ago, he catapults through it. He's falling for about 10 seconds and then lands on an electrical pylon, which has nothing to do with anything because I have no idea where it was. You don't see it in any of the background shots. It's just there. And then wherever he lands is like there's some big press that just crushes his head, and it's like a big like metal press, almost like an oil
Trouser press, I thought you were gonna say.
Like it just, and it's like, why would you have that and a pylon next to a walkway over the strip? It just seems fucking dangerous. But again, 90s.
What's your point?
My point is, it's the most 90s film. They're also really
It is quite 90s.
off with how they handle the diabetes stuff. Like that personally annoyed me. But we'll come back to that because at some point I'm going to talk about that because fucking Panic Room talks bollocks as
The
well.
main thing is, did you enjoy yourself?
Man, it's so good. That's the problem. You can't not like it.
Yeah.
You can't not like it because it's so bullshit and 90s.
But
That's
why I like Neil
it's a
Breen.
time machine.
Is because he still has that kind of 90s feeling to his film where it's just like, it's so ridiculous that it's like, you have to watch it.
Yeah, everyone has to wear a vest. Everyone has to wear a vest or at some point rip it off and like touch up a wound with it. It's bonkers. Con Air.
I'm gonna need to rewatch it.
It's so good, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I have the only gun on board. Welcome to Con Air.
I'll go a couple of things. First off, I just did the scoreboard for our films out of the hat. So I just wanted to have a slight review since we're 20 or so episodes, and I haven't put Eurotrip in there, by the way, but Eurotrip was kind of middle of the road, I think for most of it was like 6s and 7s, I think, last time. So
Something like that.
So I think we'll start with the top, and obviously for a lot of people, everyone knows this, it was episode 15 with Parasite, a total of 27 out of 30, a 10 from Dan, an 8 from Penny, and a 9 from Andy. So I think we're all in agreement that was probably the best film that we watched.
I think it's the best film we watched. Yeah, it's now on Amazon Prime, or it was when we recorded it.
Yep.
3 weeks ago.
The next one is Your Name, which is a 10 from Dan, an 8 from Penny, and an 8 from Andy. Do you like the film even more, Andy? Since because you kept when we like give our scores, I think the week after you're like, I sort of like it. I don't know, a little bit more.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because like it sort of built for me quite heavily afterwards. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Again, it's the concept that stuck with me more than anything else.
Yep. Jacob's Ladder comes in at number 3, guys.
Ooh.
9 from Dan, 8 and an 8.
That's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
I know. All my film top 3 are mine. Yay!
Oh shit!
It's the only reason he's bringing this
I'm
up.
not looking forward to the bottom.
Well, one of yours, Andy, is at number 4 is Vanilla Sky,
Yes.
which is pretty.
I'm still so surprised I kind of enjoyed that.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be up that high, but I think it sort of was. It held up. I think we said this when we were talking about it. It like held up, but I didn't think personally it was going to hold up. But
I still think it's the best thing that Tom Cruise has done, like since the turn of the century. Like apart from the
Last Samurai,
what are they called? The Last Samurai is pretty good,
Yeah.
but I think the top 3, those 2 are definitely up there with like the most interesting, compelling roles he's done that aren't just him fucking around, jumping between buildings and shooting people, or parachuting, or trying to do his own stunts.
I don't know how many films I've seen with Tom Cruise in. Do you know I've never seen a whole
don't
Liam
waste
Neeson film all the way through?
Star Wars.
you've hardly lived.
No, I don't like. No, so I'm not actually sure if I've seen any Tom Cruise films.
You nearly said you don't like Star Wars then, didn't you? And then you stopped yourself.
No. I'm well excited for The Mandalorian because Timothy Oliphant's in it. I'm learning all about Star Wars.
Jesus, fuck off, fucking hell. It's quite surprising because top 3 are mine, and then the next 3 are Andy's. So you got Vanilla Sky, then Crank
Crank was
is
good.
number 5.
Crank was good.
Very shocked at that. Even though I gave it a 7, Andy gave it a 9, Penny gave it an 8. I was very surprised Penny gave it an 8. That was the big.
So was I. Yeah.
Then the Butterfly Effect. Remember that one?
What? How is the butterfly
yeah.
effect
Jesus
next?
Christ.
No.
We
I
were
want a
very
recount.
generous.
That was early days though, wasn't it? That was
Yeah.
before we were getting too critical.
778.
I want to recount.
Andy gave it an 8.
I gave it an 8, but it depressed me for legitimately a week. It took me a week to get over it.
So Butterfly Effect and Crank are ahead of District 9, which is at number
How are
7.
all of mine at the bottom? You guys are shit.
Wait,
Because you pick shit films.
wait. At number 8, Hatchet from episode 2 is at number 8 because we gave it a 7, 8, and Andy gave it a 6.
Yeah, because the ending was pointless.
You're pointless.
If that ending had been better, it would be fucking well up there, mate.
Right, we're going to get into territory where I'm going to get angry now. So Idle Hands is next, followed by Drive.
Oh, Penny.
I stand by it. It was boring.
3, and a 9.
It was boring. It was boring.
That's one of
Nothing happened. It was boring.
I think generally we're largely on the same page with most of these films. This is the only one where we've all gone. I mean, one of us has gone like the totally opposite way.
We were quite divided on others. I'll get to mostly penny films. It's gonna be
yeah, but not to this extent.
No
though.
accounting
Like,
for
Do you know what I
taste.
mean? It's. How can you say no accounting for taste? 66% of us
how
think
else
is
to-
good, and the other 33 is a prick.
exactly.
You guys just don't appreciate horror movies, which is
just
fine. You can't.
the fact that Hatchet is ahead of Drive really hurts my heart. a lot.
Yeah, I'm quite upset by that because that film was really good.
I'm gonna make you watch the
And
second
like some
one.
of the gore in it, Pen, it should be like right up your street.
It was so boring.
Here,
Do you know what it had that Hatchet didn't? A fucking ending.
exactly.
Technically, Hatchet 2 is the ending to Hatchet 1.
Oh great, let's make the ending a whole new film.
If it had been called Hatchet,
That'll get money in the pockets,
if
won't
it
it?
had been called Hatchet Part 1, would that have made you feel better about it? The end.
No, because then you
It might
know
have.
already that it's going to be. You have to see the second one. So that's a
Yeah.
bullshit.
So would that have been easier for Andy to handle rather than like surprise Hatchet end?
Because he gave it a 6, so obviously he didn't
hang
like
on,
it that
but hang on a
much.
fucking second. The issue isn't that I've got a problem with it. The issue is that you don't like Drive and you're telling us we're wrong. And also the critics.
Exactly.
Drive was boring. Drive was boring. Nothing happened. Drive was
I get it.
boring.
Okay, coming in right behind Drive is another one that's going to break my heart. A Silent Voice. I give it a 9, a 6 from Penny, and a 5 from Andy. Jeez. That's a
Yeah.
divided one. I mean, to be honest, it's probably
Yeah.
my films that are the most divided, I think, looking at this list so far. But behind A Silent Voice is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
That's because you
5
don't like
from me.
boobs.
I mean, I was the lowest. 5 from me, 7 from both of you. I just did not. I get it, but I didn't. Yeah, I do like boobs. Just to
You
clarify.
don't have to like boobs. It's fine.
I do like boobs, alright.
Let me just confirm, I do like the occasional breast.
Just one singular tit.
Chicken breast. I don't know where this is going. But right behind Elvira, which is
Where everyone wants to be.
Way.
deservedly so, is Hackers, another Penny film. A 4 from me, a 8 from Penny. 8! Forgot it was an 8.
Yep. I stand by
I
it.
know you're into nostalgia, but open your fucking horizons.
8.
No.
And that's coming from me.
I opened my horizons and you made me watch Drive.
A 5 from Andy for that one. Then Girl Next Door, for some reason Andy picked that film. I don't
You're
know
wrong
why.
with that one as well.
Penny gave it. I gave it a 4. Andy picked it and gave it a 4, and Penny gave it an 8 out of nowhere. Randy Orton.
Oh, I like that movie.
You liked Timothy Oliphant. I'm
That was
fairly
it.
certain if he wasn't in it,
was it.
you would.
But we'll
you
never
would have
know,
been like,
will
"Oh,
we?
it's
Because
crap."
he's in it, and that means that the juice was worth the squeeze.
I'm gonna cut it so he's not in it and see what happens.
we're
Yeah,
at the
but,
bottom.
yeah. I will. If you spend the time doing that, I'll happily watch it and see what happens.
We're at the bottom 5. So coming in
Here we go.
5th last place is How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, which is one
Thanks,
we did with
Jen.
Jen. I give it a 4. Penny a 7. Andy a 4.
I didn't mind it.
Fucking hell.
Come on,
didn't
Pat.
mind
You're
it.
ruining the graphs.
I didn't mind it.
It's out of order. Right. Then followed by
It's like how I didn't mind the Emoji Movie, which was a surprise to me, but I actually quite
Oh.
enjoyed the Emoji Movie.
Christ, if that ends up in the top 10 because you fucking oversaid it.
did I add the Emoji Movie to the
Looks like you didn't, because I quite liked it.
Wow, I
That
didn't.
episode's not out till cut this bit out. But
Well, it's out already.
No, it's out.
No, it's not. It's
Yeah.
It's
oh,
out.
No, it's out, Pen.
Comes out.
It's
I
definitely
don't
out.
know where we are.
This is in the
Comes
future.
out in real time, 2 days.
Oh, so
you're gonna
yeah, okay, so that's why.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to help me with the last one then, because I can remember my score for Emoji. I don't remember yours. Anyway, followed by a Penny film for 5th worst. Then Would You Rather, which I give a 5. Penny a 7. Andy a 3. Very divided.
I can't remember why I was so critical on it. I think it's just because
Gore.
nothing happened. They're just sat. Yeah, but it's not even the gore. Because, I mean, aside from the fact that I nearly passed out midway through, and I can't even remember why.
I think you were annoyed that it was like, would you rather stab this? The would you rathers were very samey till you got to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was exactly the same thing all the way around the table. It was just 7 pricks sat around a table talking bollocks.
And it didn't,
Like-
you had to feel for like the character as well, the younger kid when
Yeah.
When-
None of them were that.
I didn't enjoy it as much as I did when I first watched it, so I'll give you that one.
Oh, the ending fucked me off as well, didn't it?
followed
Because
by
she goes through all this bollocks and then her brother kills herself.
Yeah.
Like, what a fucking waste of time.
all right, so we're in the
If he'd done that in the first 5 minutes, it would have saved the whole film, and I wouldn't have had to bother watching it, and he would have got a 10. no.
the fourth
Selfish prick.
well, a film worse than that, which was chosen by Andy, was Birdemic, which was
I cannot believe that's only the 4th
I
worst.
know. It's a 3 from me, a 2 from Penny, and a 2 from Andy. I liked it the most. So the bottom 3. Now, what was your emoji score so I can tally this up? So
I don't
mine was
know.
1.
I'll have to listen to it in 2 days' time.
Oh, you gotta tell
I
me.
can't remember.
Oh,
I don't know.
I can't remember. I'm not at that point yet.
I think I know what they were. So I'm gonna.
I liked it more than I thought I would. So
I think Penn was something like a 5 or 6.
Yeah, okay.
And I was
So-
a 4, maybe.
So the third worst film is Emoji Movie. I gave it a 1 because
you were mad
it was
about
just
that
on
movie.
level. Oh yeah. I guess you guys give it a Penny for some reason. Give it a 4 then. Whatever. For fuck's sake.
I didn't mind it.
Hello everyone, it is Andy here, your resident editor. I've just checked the scores for the Emoji Movie, and I can confirm they are as follows. From Dan, a 1. From Penny, a 6. From me, a 4. Giving us a total of 11. Can't remember where that is in the rankings. I've forgotten already, but it wasn't good.
Third worst.
Bye now.
The second worst film we have ever watched in Film Out of the Hat is, of course, the classic episode of 50 Shades of Grey. A 2 from me, a 1 from Penny, her only 1 she's ever given, and a 2 from Andy. I still stand by that because it was bad, like it was awful,
Yeah.
but I thank God I give it a 2 because I've seen worse. In my eyes, at least.
Yeah,
but
it was the misinformation that killed it for Penn.
Yeah.
yeah,
And the fact that it was fucking boring.
it was so boring.
They like branded this film and it's banging everywhere, and then there was only 2
It wasn't
scenes?
even sexy. Not really.
No, it was ridiculous.
If you can't get a little
And
bit of
then-
a wide on, there's no point, is there, Dan?
Yeah, I've seen sexier bits of corn in my shit. I don't know where that came from or why I said it.
There's too many questions. Just go with it. Just go.
Anyway,
Oh, sorry.
wow, that's really stretching, isn't it? Anyway, the worst film we've ever ranked so far.
Animals
Film Out of the
United.
Hat, in no surprising order, is Animals United. A 1 from me, a 1 from Penny. Oh no, it's 2 1s from Penny. Wow.
Yeah,
She's
it only
given
got
the
1
most
for hyena
ones.
poo poops.
Oh, yeah.
The Penny's given out the most ones. I thought it was. Oh no, she's on par with me with Emoji Movie and Animals United. Andy gave it a 2. So
I don't think I've given a 1 yet.
no, you have not. You've always given it a 2 at the very least. Yeah.
I mean,
Don't say it was a good film because I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to wind me up.
no, I'm not. Look, I'm not trying to wind you up, and I'm not saying it's a good film, but I will give most films the benefit of the doubt for trying and doing something that, between the three of us, we want to do, which is like make a film. So I've got to give him at least a little bit of credit. It's got to be truly fucking horrible for me to give it a 1.
I mean,
I'm not giving points for
I-
effort. And Andy is.
sure, why not? Okay.
I mean, I'm happy to give the Final Girls next week's film a 1.
If you feel like you need to, then please do.
Cool. I'm going to give it a 1. Right in now. It's one of Penny's film. It'll be a 1 anyway.
So I quickly, I've done it in my mind as you guys were talking, but I've done the average of everyone's averages for most films so far.
Nerd.
So, do you want to guess what Penny's average score is for most films? And it's
Middle of the
fucking
road,
across
7.
the board.
I reckon it's around a 7.
It is, of course, a 7. She has never given higher than
It's a very
8.
powerful number.
She's never given higher than an 8.
Never given a higher than an 8.
But she's given 2 1s, a 3.
Yeah. She's never gone
Is
higher than
everything else 7?
No,
It-
was
Are you Len Goodman?
It goes like this, right? I'm like looking at it: 8, 8, 8, 7, 8, 7, 7, 8, 8, 8, 3, 6, 7, 8, 8, 8, 7, 7, 7, 2, 1, 1, 3. It's mad.
Do you remember when people used to say to like me, people that I knew who listened to the podcast were like, "Oh, you always give the same scores. I can't believe it. Change it up a bit." When Penny does it, because she's the nation's
Yeah, because
favourite,
everyone
Ooh,
loves
the
her.
it's
nation.
totally fine.
I'm trying to think.
The
of,
damnation. Sorry, UK.
Very good.
I'm sure when we
Clearly a
watch.
sign that it's going downhill, isn't it?
If you ever put Scream in the hat, it can have an 11. What do you want?
Do you want to guess what Andy's was?
I think it's going to be around a 6, probably. I don't go that low that often.
That's what she said.
That's what
Well,
she
5
said.
and a half. Let's go 5.5.
5.5. Yours was a 7.
Oh, so
On
when Andy
average,
does
Mine was a
it,
7.
Yeah, but he's given high scores as well.
I've given 10s and 2s. I'm more consistent. I'm
No,
across the board.
no. You have not given a 10.
I haven't given a 10.
The
No,
highest
give me-
you've given is a 9 to Parasite and Vanilla Sky and Crank.
give me something that's worth
Crank
a
is
10 and I'll
amazing,
give it a
mate.
10.
Why didn't I give Parasite a 10?
Because you're obsessed
I
with the
don't
house. You were too busy thinking about the house to think clearly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Do you want to guess mine?
9, 8.
Bearing
So I
in
know
mind,
you're right.
I have put 2 10s and 2 1s. What do you think my average is?
Oh,
I
It's
true.
probably a 6.
think I'm the most negative.
Yeah.
Hard to believe. It's a 6.
Yeah.
I've given the highest, but I've also been quite fucking negative, mostly with Penny's films and obviously Andy's films as well. A couple of 3 choices from Andy and a couple from Penny. So
It's fine.
yeah.
We're not all film
Yeah, but-
students. We can't all like the same things.
The thing is, like, I put in films that I know are going to upset both of you. Pen puts in films she thinks we're going to like, and we shit on them.
Yep.
That's true.
I'm genuinely not trying to upset anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas I am, because it's funnier for me.
Well, that's our year in review. I mean, it's not even a year; it's a 6-month review. That's been our what do they call it in the offices? Since I don't work in office anymore, self-assessment. That's our
Oh.
self-assessment.
So, end of year appraisal.
End of year appraisal and see how we did.
I didn't know we were being
so,
tested.
Yeah, make your own mind up.
Yeah, you failed.
Should Penny give a film a 9 at one point? I mean, when she does, it's going to be a fucking celebration. I'm going to have the sound effects ready and everything.
I'd even take a 5 from Penny.
Done 5s.
It's
Yeah,
Haven't I?
there's
There's
no
no
5s.
middle ground.
Yeah,
No.
no 5s. at
That's
all.
because I don't believe in 5 being
either-
middle of the road.
Yeah, that is true as well. Yeah,
your middle of the road is 7.
yeah.
Yes.
I don't really.
A 6er.
That's the problem.
I think if it's bad enough to be like, to me, like 7 is average, right? And if anything's below a 7, it's probably quite bad. So it's more like a 2.
Imagine 7 being average in a scale of 1 to 10.
I don't know how it works. It just.
Well, you got 5.
But then you've got
as
no
half.
room to go up. Yeah.
I'm not going off. Just don't.
No, you've got no room to go up.
Oh.
That's what she said.
Well,
That's why you've never given anything more than an 8, because you're like, oh, it was better than fine, I'll give it an 8. But it wasn't amazing,
You do
I'll give it
compare.
an 8.
I think you compare your previous scores to previous films and use that as leverage for the next
Yeah.
film.
possibly.
We're not complaining. We're just analysing our review scores after.
I
20
just like to know how your brain works, because I've got to work with it relatively often.
me too.
and it's fucking hard work.
Yeah, I can't help you with that. Sorry, it just does what it does.
It's like trying to grill a steak with boxing gloves on.
So weirdly, Andy's the most positive. Did we say what was yours? 8, wasn't it? Or
No, we were both
Sevens.
7s.
So you're the most positive between you out of everyone.
Well, I will give the most range, I think, between Penny and I. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
but it's got to be. It's really got to blow me away to go for a 10. Like, I'm surprised that on reflection, Parasite didn't get it, and Drive didn't get a 9. But I will generally avoid giving a 1 because I don't necessarily think it's fair to shit on someone who's trying to do something.
I do.
I do. Anyway,
People shit on me trying to do stuff all the time.
Yeah, most of the time you deserve it. But
We weren't talking about who deserves what.
anyway, let me move.
Dan's like, let's end this now.
Before we have a fucking fist fight. That's our self-assessment. Maybe we'll come back in 20 episodes time and review again and see where we are and compare and contrast. But yeah, that was my feature. I just wanted to see how we were on the Richter scale in terms of fucking reviews and stuff. So there you go.
But I'm going to be really interested to see if after this breakdown, Penny's approach changes.
10. Final girls, 10.
She's like, gives 10 for everything or 1. There's no middle ground.
I'm not bowing
There's
to
one
your
or the
bullshit
other.
just
No,
because
the
you
audience
say.
Just
know.
say-
The audience know
Just
now.
like her numbers.
I'm not bowing to
you'll
your
be getting
bullshit.
messages.
Pressure's
I am
on,
thinking-
Bennett.
There's a couple of films in the hat that I do really, really love,
Hatchet 2.
and they would probably get a 9. I don't know if they're a 10.
Yeah, but
there's a couple that I've
I-
put in the hat that I do really love that I would give a higher score to.
There's at least one in the hat that I know you put in that I think you and I are both confident I'm going to be very harsh on.
Yeah. So, but,
So I look forward to that coming
but yeah,
up.
I'm not-
Because that'll be a 10 and a 2 occasion.
but yeah, I'm not changing my score just for you motherfuckers.
She doesn't mean that, friends.
No,
We're talking to all
not.
of you. Your nation's favourite just called you motherfuckers. Why don't you just pick me and Andy to be your favourite? Like, we're clearly, like, nicer, you know? Just saying.
Fairer. I
Fairer.
would say more. We understand metaphors.
Exactly. We know what the average is in a number. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, we can be analytical.
Penny's
She's
just
walked
walked off.
She's left.
Oh no, I have no one to throw the socials to. Come back, Pen. We need you. Mm-hmm. You're the
I know you
glue. You're the glue.
I'm not the glue. I'm the gristle.
You can be the glue for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. What's our socials, Penny?
I don't know. Does anyone want to guess?
Oh, come on. We're just having a
kidding.
laugh.
I've got them. I can do it.
You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Unusual Suspects Pod and on Twitter at Unusual Podspect. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's Penny_photopit. I'm not changing my tweets for any of you motherfuckers either, but I love you.
So many motherfuckers. You're like Sam
Yeah.
Jackson.
I don't know what's
I think
happening.
we've pissed her off.
No, I've just finished my can of Coke.
I will be tweeting nice messages at Dan Talks a Lot.
I will probably be tweeting sad messages at Joyces21.
That is true. Also, don't forget to watch After Dark tomorrow. Check out the YouTube video if you haven't yet. Subscribe. Thank you for the 1 million subscribers, obviously. Cheers that. And hopefully your lockdown has gone pretty smoothly and we're definitely not going to have another one, right, guys?
I hope you watched all the films we talked about.
Yes.
Send us your scores. See if they're better than Penny's.
I'll put the score sheet out when this episode comes out so you can have a look at them on socials as well, so you can see which ones you should watch and which ones you definitely shouldn't, following James Corden mostly, if he's in it.
It's available on YouTube.
It's available on YouTube. That's what. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next week. Ta-ta!
Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Nation's favourite. The nation's favourite strikes again.
My favourite. Fucking can't believe it's not part of
I don't know where you're getting this shit from. Who has said this?